Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Worlds of Magic. This is a 4X strategy game that's being developed by Wastelands Interactive. It's currently available on Steam Early Access for $39.99, and it's being touted as the spiritual successor to Masters of Magic. I've never played Master of Magic, so I don't really know how this relates to it. But let's hop in here and take a look at what this game does have. So we're just going to start a single player campaign so we can see exactly how you would start your campaign. So you've got these three different realms. You've got your prime, which is just your material plane. It's basically your earthen realm, your regular realm. There's nothing too spectacular about it. You've got your airplane, or plane of air, that sounds less like a mode of transportation, which gives you a boost to your gold, but a reduction in your production. Basically, this is harder movement, it's harder to do things, minerals are worth more. And then you've got your shadow plane, which is the opposite almost of the airplane. This one gives you a boost to your power, but a reduction in your food. There's also a lot of negativity in here. Negativity. There's a T in there, which presumably would help undead factions. I've not tried undead factions yet, but that is actually a faction that exists. So I'm going to have it on 1 and tiny and fast movement, and I'm not going to do the air shadows here. So here we go. We've got the... Actually, you know what? Let's do air and shadow, because you can check both of them. And we're going to do... Let's do 50 and 70. Not entirely sure how that's going to make things, but we'll see. So then you've got your factions. You've got 4 factions here. You've got the High Men, which essentially are just humans. You've got the Unhallowed, which are undead. So corrupt individuals, which is where that, Shadow Realm, I feel, would work well with the Unhallowed. You've got Grey Elves, which are kind of weak. Slow population growth, but they have a pretty good income. And are very mobile. And then Draconians. Now, Draconians, I have not touched either. And I love Draconians. Dragon people. Such an awesome thing. All units can fly, additional power and income. I can speak additional power income from population, but very slow population growth. Units with smaller amount of figures. I don't know exactly what they're meaning by that, but I'm assuming that a unit where with humans, your unit has 4 guys in it, this would only have 2 or 3. High unrest, so they're pretty unruly folk. So we're actually going to pick Draconians, because I haven't tried them yet. And then you've got your Sorcerer. Your Sorcerer is kind of like your god or your king. You're you. This is you. That's best way to describe it. You can build your own and select different magics. Oop, apparently went nuts on them all. So you can do that and have a jack of all trades, master of none. Or you can pick, an actual decent set. So basically, if you want, you can just click and hold and slide to select higher tiers or lower tiers, and they go up to 10. So you can have someone who's a master of a single magical trait. There we go. And basically has nothing left for anything else. Or you can have someone who does everything, but not very well. Or if you're lazy, you can select pre-made. So we've got all of these nice little pre-made characters. So I'm going to pick this one, and you'll see why in a moment. Actually, you can see why now. Marcus. And then you can pick your starting spells. So depending on the sorcerer you take, like this guy, we've got 2. If we select Merlin, we have 5. I have not tried Rajak. Rajak? I'm not sure how to pronounce that. 7 and 2. You can do... Wow, that's pretty impressive. This is all death magic, too. But I'm going to do Marcus, and I'm just going to randomly select my spells. And you've got your 3 tiers, so your different tiers of spells are just, as they sound, different tiers. So I am just going to randomly select between my spells, or maybe destroy roads. No, how about fertile soil? And acid arrow seems like a good one. Yeah, let's do those. And we hit done, and then we'll create the world. All right, so here we are within our world. And you can see our map here. Everything, it's a very tiny, tiny world. It's a small world after all. So everything fits nice and snug. There's a few things that pop up out of the fog of war. The fog of war kind of threw me off for a minute. First time I saw it, because it's basically a black box hovering over top of the actual terrain and everything, which is cool, but it allows you to sort of see a little bit of that tile. So in this instance, you can see that there's some sort of forest or bush or something here. This, you can see the teleportation stone, but you can't click on it. So you don't actually know what's there. But you can actually see different things. Like if you look here, we've got a little hut here, a little hut here. We've got some what look like trees of some sort, like really tall trees or really woody mountains. I'm not entirely sure what those are. I'm going to assume they're mountains of some description. And then you've got this little glowing thing. Let's get ourselves over here. So if you hover over top of it with the tile, see how the tile gets selected? And in the lower left, just above the mini-map, it says hill and then lost caravan. So that's telling you what's on that tile. So if I click on it, you've got a lost caravan, a ransacked caravan can be found here. Possible guardians, savages. Looks inhabited. Make sure you pay attention to this when you're going there, and don't read inhabited as uninhabited. That will get you hurt. And then we've got this little temple here, the Great Library, which that's going to be dangerous. That's going to require quite a bit. So let's take a quick look at what we have on the screen right now. So this blue, this is my city border. Anything outside of this is kind of neutral territory. Anything inside of this is perfectly acceptable for my city. Over here is this is our command wheel, I'm going to call it. I don't know what they call it, but I'm going to call it my command wheel. So we'll start with the info. The info pulls up this little bar. These two, they don't do anything right now. I'm assuming this is an overview map, and this might be for writing notes to yourself. I can only guess as to what they are because I haven't seen anything about them, and they never activate. You've got the mirror, which shows your Sorcerer Lord. So you can see what your attunements are, you can see what your disciplines are, your negative disciplines, and your fame. All of this starts off at 0 and progresses as you go. Then you've got the Surveyor. I can speak. The Surveyor is quite cool because you can actually see what they produce for your different race. So right here, for Draconians, my maximum population is 16.5, food bonus is 59, and production bonus is 36. So this is a good high population, but it's not so great for food or production. This one's much better for production and population, actually. That one's even better. This one's actually really good, but not so good for production. So this allows you to pick perfect spots for your cities. And you can check out your different areas. So this for hollowed would be pretty good for negative energy, actually. And you can cycle through all of your different factions. Forgot the word there. All right, and then let's get rid of the info bar. So we've got the magic panel. So this is for selecting the type of magic, or as it says, to adjust the distribution of power. So you can slide your mana up and have pretty much everything going into your mana. I'm not going to explain this very well. I'll be completely honest. I'm not good at explaining this. You've got your spellcraft, so you can have your spellcraft up. And it's just a matter of dragging, or you can just click on whatever spot you want it to fill to. I'm going to try to keep these guys pretty even. So that's a good spot for it. And then you've got your alchemy, which I can't do anything with at this point because I don't have enough of anything to do anything with. And then enchantments, which again I can't do anything with because, well, I've got nothing. And we'll get rid of that tutorial. I thought I had gotten rid of them all, but apparently I didn't. And then you've got diplomacy. So here we've got our diplomatic screen. I've found no other Sorcerer Lords, so I can't do anything. My relationship with myself is great, and I have no treaties. Once I find the other sorcerer, which presumably is down here somewhere, I will have the opportunity to do a diplomacy. And then you can change your currently viewed plane, which isn't doing anything, which is perfectly fine. Then you've got city management, which allows you to adjust your tax rate. So I can crank it up, but you can see your unrest will just pure unrest. I've always found 1 to 1.5 is a good spot to keep things in. I tend to just keep mine at 1. And then you can adjust your number of workers. So here you've got your food. Actually, let's get out of that because there's a better view for that. We just right click on the city and we actually go into the city view. So this is kind of par for the course for these type of games where you've got a city view, and as you produce things, the different buildings pop up. That's pretty much it. In this, they all look the same, no matter what terrain you're in. The only difference is right here, it changes from being, as it is here, where it's all stone, to being water, if you happen to be on a lake. So right now, we've got 2 trackers. We have a bread of 4.04, or I guess food, which our consumption is 4, our population is 6, our tiles are 2, so total is 4.04. I don't know how that math works. I'm not even gonna guess. But what's really important is right here, our food income, +2. As long as this is in the plus, you're good. That's as far as I've got. You're good. Same thing with your gold. You kind of want it to be in the plus. Same thing with your mana. If these drop to negatives, you're going to start losing some, which isn't necessarily a bad thing for a short period, but can cause issues. Like you run out of food, it can cause unrest, it can cause troops to starve and die, or as it says, disband. And it's generally a bad idea to have people going hungry. Just like not paying people. If you've got troops, like if we hop in here, Right now, we just got founders and trackers. And they cost 1 upkeep. So you want to make sure that you have enough money coming in to pay those. And this is how much work units it costs to build them, and how many turns it'll take to build them through those work units. So in order to get the work units, you would use your craftsmen or builders, depending on what different faction you're in. And then you've got sages. Sages are your research for new spells and all that fun stuff. Here's your power income, which, I'll be honest, I don't fully understand. Then there's your gold income, which I already sort of covered. Your production, this tells you more detail about how much production you're able to do. So your population is 2, which means 2,000. Which is actually wrong. Yeah, alright. Another one that I don't quite understand the math on. And then your research points. So far, no research. If I pop this guy up, we now have 1 research. So I'm not sure why this is showing a 2 for the production, because I don't have anyone in here. If I had that, it should be giving me 2. But it's showing 5, so not sure how that... really not sure how that works. But this allows you to build things faster. But also, as you can see, it reduces your food. So our food now is -1, now it's +2, now it's +5. So always want to keep it in the positives. And you always want to try to build something. Now, one thing I've just noticed is that this doesn't have a default production. Oh, it just doesn't have the image. It will always default to housing. Housing doesn't really cost anything, but it does help grow your population. So you can do housing, you can do trade. Trade will essentially convert your production into gold. So you're basically doing work for somebody else at that point. So first thing I always build is I always build a granary. I don't know if that's ideal, but that's an odd looking granary. No, I don't want to remove the building. So this is going to take 20 turns to build without having any production, or just the default population of 2. I don't get it. So if we increase it though, give more people, it reduces it fairly significantly for the first one, and a good chunk for the second one, but it goes down exponentially. So if I added a third one, which I can't, but if I could, it would probably only go down to 6 or 7. And then the next one after that would only be like one production, or 1 turn less. And then after that, you'd need like 2 to bring it down 1. So it really does shrink, but it eventually does produce faster. So we're going to exit this, and let's go explore. So what you can do here is, right now these guys are stacked, but if you want to move them individually, you just kind of move them. It's just that simple. You grab and you drag, drop it down, and you select a different spot. So now I've got this guy, and we're going to bring him this way. And of course, because they can fly, their movement appears to be much, much better than the humans. The humans, they can move perfectly fine under the plains terrain, but once you throw them in the forest, things slow down significantly. So now that I've moved this guy, and as you can see, it looks like there's 2, but there's only 1. It's just this guy here. This guy, and this guy's the one that's selected, which happens to be that guy. If I come here, we've got this guy. We're going to move him let's move him over here. And there we go. So this actually uncovered quite a bit of area. Now, you're going to find independents. These are cities that aren't actually controlled by anyone. They are quite literally independent cities. Early on in the game, they're quite weak and don't really have anything defending them. And then, let's see this. This is our spell book. This allows us to research our spells. So at this point, you just want to pick a spell that you think would be good. That's pretty much it. I usually go for ones that are kind of lower in cost because you don't have really any research points coming in. Like if we look at our city management, we have no researcher and no research points. So it doesn't really matter at this point because there's going to be nothing that we can do. It's not going to really gain anything. And I never did finish doing the command wheel. We've got our unit roster. Our unit roster tells us about our units. So we can select our different units, tells us their hit points, tells us their experience, tells us all of their stats, their upkeep, their food requirements, mana, negative energy, all that fun stuff. We see their skills, their tough, and all of their advanced stats here. So their strength, they got a +3, both of them, right? Yeah. And then you've got a heroes tab, which doesn't activate. I've never had a hero, so I'm thinking that they don't have them in yet. That's my assumption. So at this point, I have left my city completely undefended. Sort of. I do have a single militia group that is protecting this town. But they're not really going to be much use if somebody decides to come and take me on. But I'm not too worried about it because with my view distance here, they're not going to be able to make it over to me in order to take me out. So we're just going to end our turn. And some units will desert at the end of this turn. Really? Who's going to desert? Oh, I've got a -1. See, that's why you got to pay attention to this stuff. Let's reduce that so we've got some food. So it does tell you when you've made a mistake, which is quite nice. It also doesn't let you continue unless all of your actions have been taken. So here we've got armies still need your attention. You just click on it and it brings you to the army. So let's bring us this way. And we have, what is this? It's a great library. And the great library is dangerous, so my tracker is not going to be of any use there. So now we've got this guy. Now this guy, if I just hit end turn, he's going to head over to this flag, which is just 1, which is kind of a waste of his turn. And that's because of this direct army to chosen city. It shouldn't really say city, it should be chosen target. We don't really want that because that's just going to take 1 movement when he's got a whole bunch of them. So what I want to do is I am going to move this guy way over here. You can see it's going to take 1 to there, and this is going to be his second one. So next turn, he'll be able to move to here all on his own. So now we've ended our turn. It's not a whole lot we can do in this turn. We're still waiting for that to build, and we're just kind of scouting things out. So we will end that. And here we go. We've now hit this guy because we didn't actually move him. And there is the void. Let's bring this guy way over here. Oh, we've got some gems here, it looks like. Yeah, gems. Where was the tile with the gems? There we go. Sometimes it's hard to see. I find it kind of hard to see a lot of the items, and sometimes selecting the troops is difficult, especially when they're on top of a mountain. Like, if they're up on top of this, you kind of have to click down here because you have to click the tile, not the troop. So it can get a little awkward at times with the elevation. But as of now, we're not going to move this guy. We're just going to let him do his thing. What is this? I've never seen this before. I don't know what that is. It's not telling me. It's apparently planes. But I don't know. Okay. Nice little geyser. So, apparently he didn't move. Why did he not move? Alright. Did he move already? And I just wasn't paying attention? That's entirely possible. Alright, so... let's see, what else do we have? This guy is going... where's his flag? I don't know where his flag is. Kind of the downside of moving him off the screen. And I'm actually surprised I haven't run into anyone. Like, nothing. As you can see, there's a lot of things littering the place, but, you know, Ivory Tower, these are all things that I can't really do anything with yet. As you take these, you take control over them. You have to attack them with your troops, take control over them, and you kill all the guys that are guarding it, and you can gain gold, mana spells, and spell circles, which help you progress. So let's progress out here. Still nothing. Holy cow. Well, this is a fine how do you do. There we go. Finally. We've got Drakendale. First city. Only city. Let's move you closer. There we go. We'll end this turn. And let's see what the city has. The city really doesn't have any defenses. If you click on the city, it will pop up showing you what it has. Well, basically, it'll pop up with any troops that it has. Now, that's only if there's troops actually garrisoned there. So let's put this guy into Fortify. And let this guy just kind of move all on his own. So here we go. This is a good example of trying to select something. Like if I click on him, I'm actually clicking on this tile here, as opposed to actually clicking on this tile, which is what selects him. It's a minor thing. So what I can do now is, you saw how I separated them. Now you can put them together. So it's just a matter of clicking on them. It'll move adjacent. It has to be adjacent. And then you click on them, they will combine. So now they're back together. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to attack this Drakendale. And it gives me the choice. I can either you let the AI handle it and the computer will resolve the match all on its own. Or what I think is actually a really neat thing is this. You can do manual. So here we are, and it looks like we're up against other trackers. So this would be the city's militia, essentially. So here we are, and now it's just a basic turn-based strategy game, or turn-based combat. Almost tactics-like, except not quite. I'm not sure if they haven't, I guess, filled it out yet or what, but objects like the rocks don't stop projectiles. And then here's where you can use your spells. So this is where your battle spells come in handy. So I can cast this arrow, acid arrow at them. So this is actually my Sorcerer Lord casting it. And they rolled a save. You bastards. Alright, so I have exhausted everything that I can do, so let's just end our turn. And these guys weren't fortified, because fortified go first. Let's move you forward. And move you forward. I want to keep these guys kind of side by side. And we can't cast any more spells, because that 30 was all we had. Excellent. I should have thought about that. So we can't do anything. So he's going to get there and attack me. Oh, he's attacking that person. So did 19 damage to me, and I did 24 to them. Now that was just with my one troop. And if you right click on them, it comes up with your roster. So you can see how they're doing, how their hit points are. So yeah, this is how the this is what it meant by the troops it has smaller units. It's only got 3, which I don't really see as a big deal. Wow, these guys missed. I keep right clicking on them. I don't mean to right click on them. Okay, did 10. So you guys are almost dead, and so are these guys. All right, let's see how this works. Missed. Holy cow. Doing badly against these guys. There we go. And we have won. So at this point, if you had picked auto-resolve, it would have just showed this. Showed this. It would have shown this. So here you are. Here's your damage to your troops. Although this isn't quite accurate. And you gained 131 experience. You lost nothing and you got no loot. Now I can choose to take or destroy the city. I'm going to take it. I always take it. Always have. Every game like this I've ever played, I always take the city. Unless it's a city that, constantly gets taken over again. So this city is now mine. I can now go into it and do with it as I please. So they're building a builder's hall. I am not going to interrupt that. And yeah, I'm just going to leave this to its own devices. And I'm going to set these guys on fortify. If we look here, you can see that they're kind of wounded here. This guy mostly is the one that's wounded. By fortifying, they'll actually gain health. And you can actually do the fortify the army until it regains maximum health if you wanted to move it after the fact. Other than that, that's really all there is to it. That is really the basics. It is still very, very early, so there are a lot of things missing. There are a lot of bugs. I've had a couple of my saves wiped. They update regularly, and it almost seems like every update, the saves get wiped, which is fine. Oh, and the map loops, except not top to bottom, just left to right. So anyway, I'm going to leave it here. I feel like this has been a fairly long one. I've covered the very basics of it. There's a lot to these type of games, not something that can be covered in one video. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next time.